It's November, and you know what that means. It's officially NaNoWriMo. One moment. Hello? What? Well, that crashed and burned, but that doesn't mean that we can't try to write 50,000 words in a month. Hi everyone, I'm James, an author, editor, and the owner of The Earnest, an independent publisher dedicated to sharing excellent fantasy fiction. This is The Morning Edit, coming to you live from the evening. It's the show where you and I sit down with a bowl of pasta and talk about all things fantasy publishing, especially from the perspective of the independent author. Today, I want to talk to you about my experience with NaNoWriMo. Right now, it is, I don't have my watch. How embarrassing. It is November 11th, and I have a confession to make. I haven't done anything yet, really. Now, that's not because I'm neglecting my role as a writer and my obligation to the world to overwork myself for the sake of an organization that no longer exists. It's actually because I'm a crop rotator, and if you listened to a previous episode of The Morning Edit, you know that I go 3 weeks, there's the visual, 3 weeks on a project, and then I take a week of rest. And my week of rest just so happened to be the first week of November. So I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay because, well, really, there aren't any real rules. And the whole point of NaNoWriMo is just to get you to write more. My buddy Eason Blackwood just made a really good video talking about the rise and fall of NaNoWriMo, and I highly recommend you check it out. It was a really good video. Future James here. I just wanted to let you know that the Dusk and Dawn Kickstarter is happening in like 2 days, and it might even be sooner. So please check the link down in the description and support any way you can, whether that just be sharing it with other people who might be interested or actually contributing as a backer. Your support means the world to me. All right, let's get back to the video. So as of Sunday, I am in the beginning of a 3-week stretch of one of my crop rotations, and I'm trying to figure out what novel project I want to take on. A few months ago, made meaningful progress on a first draft for a murder mystery involving a wizard that shows up in some other books, but I don't think that's going to be the right fit for the Arcanist serial slot. If you're not aware, the Arcanist is my publishing house where we mostly publish other people's work, but a big part of the initiative is people in-house developing fiction that supports our goals. So, Lee Patton and I take turns doing 6-month serial runs on the website, and those become books that I've talked about on this channel ad nauseum. I decided instead of my murder mystery, I would jump back to an older project that I started back in 2023. It's called Soil! Full caps. It has to have full caps. Don't ask me why, I've just always imagined it that way. And Soil is more of a family drama in a remote location with weird, uncanny monster things. I love to throw in tropes, and I love to throw in, cliche fantasy monsters that exist in everything but are my own take on the thing. Ashen Rider is a perfect example. It has angels and demons and griffins and Pegasus and dragons. It's nothing like you've ever read, and I'm not just saying that, other people will tell you that too. Any minute now, it's coming. But Soil is, first of all, one of my many ideas that I had after reading Stephen King's Pet Sematary, which is my favorite story of all time. Like, not even just the book, I love the book, but my obsession started with the 2019 film. That story is just mwah, chef's kiss. It's my favorite story of all time. So Soil is a family drama that will have vampires and werewolves and weird Eastern folklore creatures. I might need to do a bit more research. I might have bit off more than I can chew, as I usually do with these novel projects that I put upon myself. But the unique thing about Soil, compared to just jumping into the arms of a new idea, is that I actually did a lot of writing on it back in 2023. I had written about 10,000, maybe 12,000 words. So if my target is 45,000 words for my short serial novels, I'm about a fourth of the way through with the pre-work. problem with the pre-work. It's bad. It's really bad. It's beyond first draft bad. I was still a freshman in college. Was I a freshman in college in 23? I was technically a freshman in college for 6 years. That is how slow I got through college. Anyway. It was when I first started learning how to write, so the style just wasn't there yet. It's a mishmash. The writing is unusable. But the story and the concept is sound. Writing is cheap. You can rewrite anything, but if you have a good concept and you can understand how it connects together, you can make anything work. Does that mean that I'm going to succeed? Absolutely not. This is all to say, I thought this would be a great candidate for NaNoWriMo because the clock is ticking. Ashen Rider Part 4 is about to come out, and then the last part is going to run next month, and then I have 6 months. So I try to take off the pressure by starting this stuff about a year in advance. Ashen Rider actually came about after this idea. I had started working on Ashen Rider after I had put Soil away, because quite frankly, the subject matter in terms of the family drama, which concerns a couple that are having trouble conceiving, I wasn't quite in a place in my life yet where I understood that struggle, and I didn't think that I could depict it very well. Well, I've grown up a lot since then and have experienced a lot of different things. I am more confident in my ability to tackle the intricacies involved with trying to start a family. So, I'm really excited to start this book. But how am I going to write 50,000 words in a month? Well, the fantastic answer to that question is that I'm not. It's just not going to happen, and I have the data to prove it. I have written 50,000 words in 1 month once in my life. That was December 2023? Yes, December 2023, and I had a lot of alone time that month. And I was uniquely motivated, and you know what? Every one of those words I wrote that month, they're getting rewritten. So I don't believe that I'm going to hit 50,000 words, but gosh darn it, I'm going to try. I tend to, in my 3-week spans, I've only been measuring it for a few months now. I've done 2 3-week drafting sessions. One was for the murder mystery, and the other was for the second rewrite of What Lies Below. In the first one, I got to about 31,000 words, which is pretty good. Pretty good. That's about 10,000 words a week. I think it actually averaged to about 11,000 words a week, so it's more around 33. I don't know. I don't have them in front of me. But then with What Lies Below, which should have been more words, because first drafts are very difficult, and rewriting is very fun for me. And I thought that I would get a lot more, but here's the thing about life, guys. Life gets in the way. And as of yesterday, I am officially a master's student. I have begun my master's of business administration. And in addition to that, I actually have solved the problem for my job search that I've been complaining about on and off on this channel. I got promoted at my day job. And that is wonderful and has given me such a great peace of mind. I know where my career is going. I know that my family will remain being fed for the foreseeable future, assuming a civil war doesn't plague the planet. But it's leaving a lot less time during the day for me to steal a couple minutes for writing. I'm actually pretty busy all the time now. That's why I'm recording this in the evening. My mornings are taken up by school and reading, and I just so happen to be alone today. My wonderful wife-to-be is up visiting some family for the next couple days, so I have a couple of evenings to myself. Usually, the way my day works is that I get up at 3:30 in the morning, and I wake up and sometimes shower, and often get a cup of coffee, sometimes just a glass of water. That doesn't matter to you. But then around 4:30, I would start working on either writing or some other project for the Arcanist. After my session in the morning, I would then go to work, and I'd work all day, and I'd fit in any sort of creative stuff that I can in the gaps of free time that I'd have, which are, like I said, are fewer and fewer between nowadays. And then in the evening, I would come home feeling like I have done everything I possibly can in the world to progress myself as a professional, and then I'd slump on the couch or I make dinner and I do the dishes and I hang out with the love of my life. Because you know what, guys? I don't care how much you love writing, you gotta love your family more, and you gotta make time for them. I've been the type of creative person who has no time for anybody, who would take weeks of PTO just to work 10-hour work days. You don't want to be that person. Nobody wants to be around that person. But tonight I thought I'd start this video journal. I'd start my actual journal because I journal my novel projects now. I don't think anybody thinks it's interesting, but I think it's interesting, and it helps me tell you things like I wrote 20,000 words in 3 weeks. I know, you're tired of hearing it, aren't you? I'm tired of hearing it too, to be all honest. I want to eat my pasta, and you want to eat too. My dogs want to eat, so we got to cut this short. This is going to be a multi-film type of thing. It's going to be like a vlog. If I'm going to hit 50,000 words, and let's not say the end of November because we're a third through November and I haven't done squat. Let's give it 30 days from today. So let's see what day that it would be. We could probably just say December 11th for the sake of ease here. I don't have to look at my calendar while I'm filming. I write every single day. I only need to write 1,600 words. Really, actually, 1,666.6666666666667. That's not creepy. Well, because that's really creepy, and because I know for a fact I'm not going to write every single day, I don't even do that on the weeks that I do write every single day I've scheduled, because I schedule a day off because I'm not a masochist. Let's just assume that I'm going to take the weekend off. So 5 working days. 5 times 4 is 20. So we have 20 working days. That's 2,500 words per day. I'm not sure we're going to get there. I can do that sometimes. I definitely can't do it all the time. We're going to get as close as we can to finishing Soil. So even though it's not especially likely that I'm going to achieve 50,000 words in the next 30 days, I'm going to take you along the journey with me. I'm going to be writing my journals that you can follow along with, and we're going to see if we can get there. Hey everyone, it's me again. A few days later, it's Saturday the 15th, and so I've just completed my first week of crop rotation. So I had essentially 6 working days out of the 7. I kind of had written a little bit during my rest week that contributed to this week, so I lumped that into the 1,000 words on Monday. But it's been a pretty good week, and I'm feeling really good about Soil. So a behavior that I notice when I'm beginning a project, especially on this first week, is a hesitance. I tend to believe that it will be hard or that I'm not up to the task. You know, that imposter syndrome stuff. I've gotten a lot better at dealing with that, and I'm, working through it and proving to myself that it's completely unfounded. With Soil specifically, and I think I might do a whole video on this topic at some point, it's kind of founded because when I started Soil, I shared earlier in the video, I didn't feel like I had really lived enough life to accurately depict the subject matter. Now I think I can, and I'm slowly proving that to myself as time goes on. But what I have here on the screen is this. It's my production journal. This is what I started doing 3 months ago. This is the third one that I began, and it's been incredibly helpful for my creative process. I'm really more of a pantser. I'm not a plotter. But what I do like is to kind of do a halfway measure, and I like to list out narrative beats that I want to hit. I want to talk about where my, I'll just scroll up. Like, I like to talk about what I was thinking at the time that I came up with ideas. I want to talk, like, compare and contrast with different sessions of writing because they're so separated. And this is all stuff I put up on my portfolio website. I'll link it down below in case you want to take a look at it. Like I said, it's purely for me. I don't expect anyone to think that this is interesting, but if it's there, I've made it, I might as well put it out in case it can help somebody. You never know. But what we see here is we have this gradual rise over the week. Not quite, a perfect slope, but we go 1000, 1434, 1929, 1654, 2392, 2490. I'm reading it in case you're just listening to the podcast and can't see what I'm looking at. And we had a weekly total of 10,899 words. Now, it is Saturday, and I had a really good writing session earlier today, and I could have kept going. But I decided that I need to rest. I wanted to do other things today. There is a point where you have to say no to writing. So that's where I'm at as of week 1. That's where I'm going to leave off this video. I don't know if I'm going to do a follow-up, but I'll definitely mention, if I don't do a whole dedicated video, I'll mention where I'm at by the time my 30 days is up. In the meantime, next week, or at some point, it's going to be a big week, guys. So coming up, probably right after this video, you're going to see the Kickstarter promo for my books, because the Kickstarter is starting in 2 days. I'm so nervous. I have been avoiding Kickstarter and wanting to do it for 4 years, and this is the first time I've worked up the courage to try. So we'll see how it goes. And at the same time, I also have a talk coming out with Easton Blackwood. And this is very topical because Easton Blackwood just did a great video about NaNoWriMo, how the organization rose to prominence and just crashed and burned. And it was a really great, well-researched video. It needs more attention, so go check out that video. And then also, Easton is writing every day. He's streaming his writing every day as kind of a sort of public declaration of I am going to write X amount of words, 50,000 words in a month, and it's his way of keeping himself accountable. I think it's a really admirable effort, and I've checked in a couple times on the streams and said hello. I'm excited, guys. I'm making good progress. Either way, if I succeed at 50,000 words in 30 days, or not, I've had a great time. I've made a lot of progress, and it's really showing me I have this rhythm. I've been able to keep up now for 3 months, and that just means the world to me. If there's one thing I want to do more of all the time, it's write. And now I finally, years and years of work and honing myself, I have gotten myself in a pro level, dependable rhythm that isn't so much at the whims of my interest, but is at the whims of my calendar. And, that's one of those things that really separates a hobbyist from a professional. If you can show up day in and day out, you're going to keep your job. That's what John Dufresne says. You got to show up to the job to keep the job. So with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Check out the Dusk and Dawn Kickstarter. It is going to be awesome. And Ashen Rider is already done, so if you want to read it, you can read it. You don't have to pay for it, but if you'd like to, the Kickstarter is the best place to do that. Keep writing, keep revising, and show up to your damn job.